This week's Parsha is Parshas Yitro, and in it is perhaps the most seminal moment in Jewish history, the moment that the Jewish people were at the foot of Har Sinai, of Mount Sinai, and God gave us, the Holy Torah. Now this moment, and indeed all of Yiddishkeit, all of Judaism, is anchored by the 10 Commandments, the Aseres HaDibros, that are enumerated in this week's Torah portion. And the very first one is one that we all know very well. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, asher hotzitzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avadim. I am God your Lord, who took you out of Egypt from the house of bondage. And while this is very well known, it is also quite puzzling. Because here it is, Hashem is introducing himself to the Jewish people. In fact, Hashem is giving the commandment of what to believe about him. And he chooses to define himself as the God who took us out of Egypt. Wait a minute. Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher barasi shamayim va'aretz. I am God your Lord who created heaven and earth. I am the creator. Or, if we want to get a little bit more personal, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am God your Lord who has given each and every one of you life. Why does Hashem choose to define himself by this one particular moment? I am God who took you out of Egypt. And Chassidus gives a very fascinating explanation to this. Indeed, creation of heaven and earth was the most cosmic and most foundational event, and defined God as our creator and the master of all. But the net result of it was a world of limitation, of definition, of rules and laws, of nature, etc. And the takeaway for the Jewish people, had God chosen to introduce himself as I am God, who created heaven and earth, would be, and I expect you to exist within those boundaries and those limitations. I expect you to be good citizens of the world and play nicely in my sandbox. Hashem chose to give the Jewish people a very different message. I am God, your Lord, who took you out of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim doesn't just mean Egypt. It is also the word for Meitzarim, which means limitations and boundaries. We know, as the Haggadah tells us, that we have an obligation to remember leaving Egypt twice every single day. Right? Right? All the days of your life. The days of your life would have been in the morning. All the days of your life means also in the evening, twice every day. And it's not because leaving Egypt was such an important event. It's because this is our modus operandi every single day. To leave our Mitzrayim, to leave our limitations and our boundaries. Hashem says, I didn't just make you another one of the creations that exist within the world. I have given you a power to transcend, to leave your limitations and your boundaries, to be more than what is defined here in this moment, to achieve and actually take the entire world with you, to be the catalytic engines of creation and move everything forward. To look at limitations and boundaries and look beyond them and transcend beyond them. And that has actually been the hallmark of the Jewish people throughout history. Things that have been impossible and things that couldn't be achieved, we have achieved, and miraculously so. And so Hashem says, this is actually your responsibility, because I have given you this ability and I need you therefore to act on it. Not just in the collective as the general Jewish people, but Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher hotzitzicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. I am your God in the singular, who took you and the individual out of your limitations and boundaries. And so the takeaway for each and every one of us has to be that we each, every single day, have to have this spirit of transcendence, of constantly pushing and growing and exceeding and forward progress, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. Yesterday's progress is today's boundaries, is today's Mitzrayim. Every day we need to leave our boundaries. Every day we need to push and accomplish more. It is within our ability to do so. As it says right here in the first of the 10 Commandments, God doesn't only introduce himself to the Jewish people, he introduces the Jewish people to the Jewish people. He tells us who we are. May we take the message to heart, push past our limitations, our perceived boundaries, achieve the impossible, and bring about the ultimate goal for ourselves and all of this world, the coming of Mashiach. Amen.